Hey, Premiers and Silvers. It's Deanna Nichols, Blue Diamond. I'm one of your group admins. And there were a couple of posts this week that came up surrounding some ethics and policy questions. And I wanted to make sure that I took a few minutes because sometimes things don't translate super great in writing. And I wanted you to see my face and hear my voice as I talk to you about these. And I want to make sure everybody's clear because at the level of Premier, you are at a leadership rank. Like you are actually earning money off of all the sales of the whole company. You're profit sharing in doTERRA, so it's really important that you understand the ethics surrounding like who should be the enroller and what to do when you encounter somebody who's already enrolled by somebody that wants to switch to your team. What you should do when you encounter somebody that someone else has been sharing with, what to do when you encounter somebody who has a family member that's building doTERRA. These were topics that came up this week. And also surrounding sharing your wholesale discount with people rather than selling them at retail or just signing them up as a customer. So these are important things that we need to talk about and make sure that it's very clear, because a lot of times on this page you get a lot of opinions, but I want you to actually hear from somebody who is a seasoned doTERRA builder that knows the actual policies and can help you a little bit to make sure that there's no confusion. Because going forward as a leader, so if you're a premier, then you have two people on your team that you are like helping to train, at least two people. And so we want to make sure that we're passing on the doTERRA culture and that we're also teaching people the correct policies. It's really, really important. Okay, so let's start out with, I guess, who is the enroller? Okay, so the enroller is the person that the customer chooses to sign up with. Okay, so sometimes I think we have this idea that if we have shared with a person, shared an essential oil with a person, that they're like our person. So when I teach this at doTERRA training events, I tell people that sharing an oil with somebody is not like peeing around them in a circle. Like you don't mark your territory by sharing a sample. Okay. So I have enrolled a ton of people that I was not the original sharer. Okay. And I don't feel badly about it at all. And neither should you. What the difference is, so sometimes people think that I shared an oil with somebody in 2012, and therefore in 2019 when they decide to enroll, they should enroll with me. No, they should enroll with the person that they feel connected to, that's going to be the person that's going to give them the customer service and connection that that is going to serve them the best. And they get to decide. We don't get to decide. The customer gets to decide. Okay. And so when I'm talking with somebody, let's say that I'm talking with a person and they tell me that they have been buying essential oils from somebody for 3 years. What my next question is going to be, because this is what came up in today's post. My next question is going to be, oh, did that person tell you that if you had your own doTERRA membership, that you could be getting the same prices as them, plus you get all the member perks? Like you get 10 to 30% back, you get education, you can be in the product of the month club, all of those things. And normally when those people find out that they are missing out on all those member perks, they actually lose trust with the person who never told them about it. What I find is that if we haven't told people about membership, if we're selling them products and even if we're selling them at retail and we don't tell them about the membership perks, that is our own limiting beliefs and our own fears. And we're actually thinking of ourselves. You're thinking of yourself, making sure that you're comfortable and you don't feel like you're outside your comfort zone. You don't want to pressure that person. But what you've done is you've removed their ability to choose what is their path. So I give people all three of the choices, and then I let them decide. So I tell them you can buy retail and pay 25% higher. That money goes right to my pocket. It doesn't come with any type of community or education or member perks. Or you can pay $35, you can get a membership, it gives you 25% off, which is the same price I get, 10 to 30% back, blah, 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 all the things that come with it. Or you can waive your membership fee by choosing a starter kit, and then you'll actually be prepared by having some core products in your home. You'll be prepared for emergencies and things that come up. So that's really what I recommend. And I kind of point them in the right direction. So because I've learned the skill and I've learned how to have that conversation, the majority of people that I talk to will enroll. If they tell me at that point that somebody's already shared doTERRA with them, then I might say to them like, oh, well, did you want to sign up with that person, or would you like me to be your enroller? I mean, they're an adult and they can decide, and there is absolutely nothing unethical about that. If they tell me, oh, my sister does doTERRA, okay, then I might say to them, oh, like she does it as a business? Yeah. Well, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to sign up with your sister? I'll ask that. I don't have to ask that. I think it's a courteous thing to do because sometimes it hasn't occurred to them that they should think about that, so I bring it up. And I've had situations where I've asked the question and the person will say, "Yeah, I don't mix business and family," or "I would not want to do business with my sister." They'll straight up tell me that. And or they'll say, I really feel comfortable with you. I'd like to work with you. They absolutely have the right to do that. So there was a post this week where thankfully an anonymous diamond was being highly criticized in the thread because they had enrolled somebody's family member. And first of all, we don't know the whole story about how that occurred, but yeah, you ask questions. So there's not a cut and dried answer. There's no, I've heard people say in some of these threads this week, like if somebody shared with them before, you send them back to that person. No, you ask, like Victoria's saying, and she's another seasoned leader and she knows, like you just ask questions and feel out the situation and find out like, why are they just buying products? Why did they not sign up with their sister? They know their sister does the business. Why have they not signed up with her? So how many of you guys know and are honest with yourselves that people say, I do doTERRA as a business? And what they mean is they're a wellness advocate and they've signed up one person in the past 8 years, and about twice a year, they throw a post up on Facebook about doTERRA and they say they do doTERRA. Okay. So if I'm a person who's coming into doTERRA and I have ideas about potentially building the business, don't I have the right to go work with somebody who is a seasoned business builder that's going to give me the best chance of my success? I mean, I certainly have that right. So there's nothing shameful or wrong about enrolling somebody because somebody's shared with them ever in the history of mankind. There's nothing wrong with enrolling with somebody that has a family member that's doing the business. There are presidential diamonds in doTERRA that have family members on other teams. There's no, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. That's how things go. At the end of the day, the person who decides is not the sharer. The person who decides is the enrollee. They decide who they want to enroll with. And so I ask questions. What would you like to do? I was at an expo the other day and I had a guy walk up and start asking me all these questions about oils, but he like knew the names of the oils. And he's like, yeah, somebody gave me a sample of this. I have no idea what it does. Somebody gave me a sample of this. I have no idea what it was. Somebody had given this man like 11 different samples. And so I said, you know, of course I told him like how the oils work and I told him how to get started. And then I said, you know, why not sign up with this person who gave you these samples? And he said, well, because you know more about the oils, you've been doing this longer. And here's what I said. I said, well, you know what? I said, I have people on my team that have just started doing the business. And I would certainly hate for them to not go, for their people not to sign up with them because they're new. Like everybody deserves the chance to learn how to do the business. That's not a reason not to sign up with your friend. You know, I'm sure that they have somebody like me above them that they can go to for help. So if they're not able to answer your questions, there is somebody like me in their corner. And he said, yeah, he's like, I just feel really comfortable. I want to work with you. And then we started talking and he's like, I think I want to do the business. And he's like, and I want to work with you. He's like, you know how to do the business. I would really, really like to work with you. Let me introduce you to my wife. We sat down and we had like a 3-hour lunch with these people and we met and we decided like it was meant to be for us to work together. But we had a conversation like grown-up adults about it. We discussed it. I said, don't choose me because I'm a higher rank. Choose me if you think that I'm the right person for you. This person took the time to share with you, like, is it going to be awkward when you tell them that you signed up with someone else? You need to think that through. Like, if you're making this choice, you need to go back to them and tell them what you're doing. So, I mean, I think like every situation is different, but just make sure you're asking questions. That's all. So if you've asked the right questions, you're not gonna, you're most likely gonna make the right choice there. Another thing is if you have a team, you have to ask these questions too for their sake, because sometimes people will see me on a live video and they get invited by a person in my downline and they will contact me to enroll. So my next question is, how did you hear about doTERRA? Who invited you to watch this video? Who invited you to the class? You always ask that. especially if you are at a higher rank and people are recognizing your name and your face. You ask these questions because you don't want to just take advantage of your name recognition or face recognition to the detriment of somebody who's working really hard to get that one enrollment. Like, you always will ask these proper questions. If you learn to ask the questions, at the end of the day, the person gets to decide. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you enroll somebody that someone else has been working with. As long as you've asked the questions and walked them through their choice and help them to realize, like, this is somebody, like, this is good. I'm going to be your person, not this person anymore. So make sure that I'm the one that you actually want to be with. If you have a relationship and friendship with this person, maybe you would work best with them. Think about that. So let's be clear, like, there's nothing unethical about signing somebody up because they've been shared with before. I'll tell you something else. If I meet somebody that has already been enrolled, but they haven't ordered for like 2 years, I ask them, like, why have you not ordered? Like, why, like, and they'll tell me, I've never even, my enroller never talked to me again. I have no idea how to even get in touch with them. I don't know how to log into my doTERRA account. So I'll ask them, I'm like, would you like me to help you connect with your original enroller and your original team? I don't have to do that. If they've been inactive for 6 months, I can just move them to my team. But I ask questions and I find out, like, what went wrong in that relationship. Can we restore the relationship? Sometimes we can. I can call customer service and find out who their enroller is, who their upline diamond is. I've connected so many people back to their upline over the years. I want to be known as the person who does that. But at the end of the day, they get to decide. After they're inactive for 6 months, they can choose a new enroller and a new sponsor. They have that right. So as long as we understand the policies, and let's be careful not to judge one another harshly, because we don't know all the sides of the story. But I choose to believe the best about my doTERRA colleagues. And it's easy to judge what you see on social media. There was a comment about somebody was doing an unfair enrollment promotion. You know what? doTERRA has a compliance department. If you see something like that and it doesn't look like it matches policy, go ahead and send an email to compliance@doterra.com. Don't post about it on social media. Don't be passive aggressive. Don't smear the person's name. Don't take screenshots and put it everywhere. Just go to compliance and say, hey, I saw this and it doesn't seem like it's right. I just want to turn it in and let you look at it. At the end of the day, it's their responsibility to make sure that the policies are followed. And if it doesn't affect you directly, like, it's not like somebody stole a person off your team, or it doesn't affect you directly, you should wash your hands of it and just let compliance handle it. If it's affecting your team directly, then bring in your upline blue or presidential diamond for counsel. Have them sit in on the conversation with you. Have them help you. They can have conversations at different levels. So bring them in, but don't go public with that nonsense. Like, all that does is, like, it creates this big giant mob mentality, and we really want to make this group about masterminding, not about complaining about things and, like, dragging people's names through the mud. We certainly don't want to do that. So I think that it's just a good idea to try to handle that stuff, or go directly to the person. I mean, gosh, there's a grown-up thing to do. I've done that before. I've called the person on the phone or private messaged them and said, like, hey, this is what's going on. This person on my team thinks that you stole somebody from them. Like, I've had, I have a really good friend who does a lot of expos, and she's a blue diamond, and I had a silver on my team think that she stole one of her contacts at her expo, and wanted to try to get her taken back away from her and given back to her friend. And so I just reached out to the blue diamond. We had a grown-up conversation about it. She said, listen, I'm willing to give her back. I had a clear conversation. She chose me and not her friend. And, but I'm willing to, give her back if she wants to. And so, sometimes just having a face-to-face conversation or a person-to-person conversation instead of assuming that the person was doing something nefarious. So I think just believing the best about each other, and then letting compliance handle the stuff that's out of our hands. Okay, so that's the whole thing about who's the enroller. Now I want to talk about sharing your wholesale discount, because there was like a whole bunch of confusion about that tonight. So no, you cannot share your wholesale discount with somebody. So when you do these posts like, hey, I'm placing a doTERRA order, who wants me to add something on, you're actually against policy. You are not allowed to use your wholesale account to let other people have your discount. So you have two options. You can either share your retail site link with them and let them buy at retail, or you can choose to sell the products to them at 10% above MAP pricing. I will tell you the truth, that is a little above my head. how to explain that to you, but I know that it's more than the wholesale price for sure. Okay, so you absolutely cannot. It is against policy. I don't care if it's BOGO week. I don't care if you saw a blue or presidential diamond doing it. It is against policy. Let's be clear. So you have two options. You can sell a product at 10% above MAP, or you can sell it to them at retail. You absolutely are not to be adding people's orders to your account and then letting them have it at wholesale. That is against policy, and it does undermine the business model and prevents other people from earning income. So it also is, it's actually, especially if you haven't explained to them. I had somebody on my team that was trying to get like free frankincense at Christmas. So they were taking all these people's orders and putting it on their account so they could get to 200 PV, and they never told the people that they could get free frankincense if they did a 200 PV order. So I mean, you're you're hurting your relationships with these people by being dishonest. So always give them all of the options, let them choose, but one of the options is not let me buy something for you on my account. That's not one of the options. So don't give that as an option. If you don't give it as an option, then it's not going to happen. So why would they even know about that unless you brought it up? So we're not to sell people products at wholesale. And then somebody asked about the little box that you check that says that these are for personal consumption. And they thought that as long as you didn't check that box, it meant that you could resell your stuff at wholesale. No, that is just a sales tax thing. Like doTERRA has to make sure that they collect the right amount of sales tax. So if you are reselling your products, then you should not be checking that box. Okay? So really, do you understand how the compensation plan works? Because if you understand how the compensation plan works, how you make money at doTERRA is you enroll people with their own account, you educate them so that they are a retained customer, and then you get referrals from that person. You either then will enroll people that they refer, or maybe you'll end up upgrading them to a wellness advocate and placing those referrals under them. That's what we do. That's how you make money. You don't make money selling oils. I will tell you, I've been a Blue Diamond since I think 2016. I have never sold an essential oil to a person, ever. I have never shared my wholesale discount with anybody except my mother. And that was before I even knew what I was doing. I think I had been enrolled for like 6 months and didn't even know anything and wasn't doing the business. I let my mom place a few orders on my account in the beginning because I didn't know any better. That's the only time I've ever done that. And so it's a disservice to the customer to take away their ability to get plugged into the community and the education. That's what makes doTERRA magical. I always tell people, we don't, when you go to the store and buy an essential oil, it doesn't come with people. Our oils come with people, and that's half the magic. We have the best oils in the world, and then we have this amazing community that gives you education and support. Don't shortchange people on that. And then, of course, make sure you understand how the compensation plan works, because there's no money to be made in one-time sales. We're not in direct sales. We're in network marketing. Okay? We don't sell Tupperware. We don't sell Mary Kay. Those industries have an 8% retention rate. We have 65%. The reason we have a 65% retention rate is we build networks of people that are ordering consumable products over and over. The average order in doTERRA is 135 PV a month for your retained customers. Are you out to make $20 to put in your pocket? Or are you out to make the average of $2,500 over the life of that customer? A retained customer is good for $2,500 of income to you. So make sure you understand how the comp plan works. So think about it from your side. What's beneficial to you is to build a network, not to sell oils. And then what's more beneficial to the customer? They're going to get more education, more support, more free stuff. They're going to be able to afford their products better, free shipping rewards. And they're more likely to keep using the products if they have their own membership and you've given them proper education. So it's better all around for everybody for you to be upfront and honest with the 3 purchasing options. Tell them all 3 options. Let them choose the one that works the best for them. One of the 3 is not to share your wholesale discount. That's not one of the options. I was actually a little bit surprised and shocked to see that so many leadership ranks in doTERRA think it's okay to share your wholesale discount. It's just not. It's straight up against policy. It should never be done, even on BOGO week, okay? And so let's make sure we know the policies and that we're communicating them properly to our teams. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them here. But let's try to refrain from giving opinions. When people ask about company policy, we need to make sure that we're giving them the actual company policy. That's not based on opinion. It's in writing. If you don't know how to find it, you can actually go find the policy manual. You can Google it. You can read it yourself, word for word. And if you have trouble interpreting it, you can reach out to your upline gold or above. that's building the business and is a seasoned business builder and ask them for clarification. And of course, you can always reach out to doTERRA and ask them for clarification on their policies. But I wanted to be sure you know those two topics because they came up so much this week about how to have the conversation about who should be the enroller, and also is it okay to share your wholesale discount with others. And so hopefully I've clarified that for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.